All right, man, we are here at Buddy Brew, my favorite Buddy Brew, with my cup of Bali coffee, Indonesian coffee, and I'm here with my good friend Ken Lawson.
Good morning.
Ken is a Republican and a former Marine. How long would you serve in the Marines, Ken?
I served all my life, to be honest with you. Once Marine, never Marine. Never a Marine. Always a Marine.
Always a Marine.
Yeah.
Well, how did you get in the Marines? Just tell me a little bit about the Marines.
My stepfather, he was in Vietnam back in the 70s, and then he was my inspiration. He was an infantryman. He served 2 tours in Vietnam, and after his service, I realized I want to be a Marine also. So I was able to go to law school, join the Marine Corps, and serve as a judge advocate.
Oh, wow. So now where'd you go to law school?
Florida State. Hey, buddy. Hey, Seminole.
And you know, we're really hoping this year. I saw actually a cover story of one of the sports magazines with Christian Ponder on there, talking about will Ponder win the Heisman.
And so we hope.
You know, hey,
he's a great guy.
So we're even having a conversation about that would be a good thing. I see a good friend Judy James behind us. You can't see Judy James. I see Judy James. Judy and her husband Dan Malloy. Dan's running for State House seat 57. Great man. They've always been good friends and very, very articulate. And we got, you can also not see him, but Dave Armijo, who's head of Heart, is walking across the street here. Going to be coming in a few seconds. Buddy Brew Coffee is a fabulous place to come, talk politics, drink your coffee. It's located on Albany and Kennedy. We encourage you to come, friend, foe alike, to come and talk. And that's why I wanted Ken here. Ken's a friend, actually, and a supporter. But really, he's somebody who really believes a lot in his community, believes a lot in what the Republican Party stands for. And Ken, can you just talk about me? Why are you a Republican?
You know what? I believe in freedom, lower taxes, strong foreign affairs. Our country's been challenged since 9/11 by terrorists and other groups who want to change our way of life. I believe as a Republican, we have a responsibility to ensure that we protect our borders, have a strong military, and use our foreign affairs dollars wisely. We can't give money just to every country to help them get out of their problems, but we have a mandate as the United States, as that shining city on the hill, to ensure that we spread the words of democracy, freedom, and also choice to these other nations. That's what I'm saying.
Ken articulates it very well. But the other thing that I really like about Ken is that Ken understands we're a community, and while we believe in our party and we will fight for for the ideas and values of our party, we also recognize that we've got to work with each other. So we've got a lot of Democrats and Independents that are out there as well who want to make their community stronger and who want to do good for our country. But we've got the challenges right now, though, in Washington, is that there's a mindset in Washington that government can do everything. And it can't. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what we're seeing in Washington with regard to all the spending. And people talk to me about spending. I've said from the beginning, Reagan, in fact, I'm a Reagan Republican. People talk about being a Ronald Reagan Republican. I was in the Navy when Reagan was in the White House, and Secretary Leahy was Secretary of the Navy. We took a 300-ship Navy and turned it into a 600-ship Navy. That was Ronald Reagan. Reagan knew that we had the government at that time had to spend money to build up our military force, and with that we got a peace dividend. So there was a return on the investment. Government needs to focus wisely on where it spends its money. And I've long said that government's involved in way too many things at the federal, state, and local level. At the local level, we've got our hands in almost every activity. There are many things that government needs to rein in, get out of the business perhaps of doing all the things we do in children's services or aging services, but partner with others so that those services are provided. At the same time, government does need to make sure that we have infrastructure, that we've got the roads, that we've got the intersection improvements, we've got the sidewalks, we've got where necessary the rail to move goods and people quickly, efficiently, effectively, and at a cost savings to taxpayers. And that's something that I kind of appreciate about you, because you're a smart, thoughtful citizen. And
you're very kind. But I agree. As Republicans, as Americans, we have a responsibility to include everyone in this equation. It's not just Republicans, it's not just Democrats, it's not Independents, it's all of us. But we have to come together on those core principles that create our country and led us for over 200 years. And we have to be wise about our dollars, because we're spending all our money on government services and not allowing the private sector to grow, generate jobs, or failing. So that's the reason why I support Mark for his bid for re-election on the county commission. Because He's a smart, solid Republican, but a smart, savvy leader.
Well, I really appreciate that, Ken. And you know, we talk about creating jobs. When I ran for office in 2004, I'd come from the private sector. I'd worked with a private school, and I'd also worked for a cardiology group. And that cardiology group, still practicing, in fact thriving today, had to find ways to increase not just the efficiency and the effectiveness of the office and the way they provided services, but they also wanted to find ways to increase their revenue. And one of the things that they did was they invested in new equipment. We bought a lot of diagnostics equipment, and we did more diagnostics in-house. As a result, profits soared. And I'm reminded of a story I read recently by Andy Groves. Andrew Groves, who was the CEO of Intel Corporation, talked about how Intel several years ago, when everybody else was looking at this economic recession coming at us and saying we've got to retrench, Intel invested at that time in their infrastructure, their manufacturing infrastructure. And if you do your research right now, go to Bloomberg.com, take a look at them online and read about Intel. Intel has been experiencing record economic growth because while everybody else was retrenching, they were on the offense. They were building their infrastructure and they created jobs, and now they're making record profits. And again, our community, we can't retrench. We can't hide. We can't wait for this recession to end and then hope that jobs will be created. We're going to be competing, and we want everyone to hear that all around the country and all around the world, that the Tampa Bay area is going to be competing with the Charlotte area, with up to New England, out to New England, up in Boston, Atlanta, out to the West Coast, Arizona. We're going to compete with other regions and other states because we want to create jobs right here. The jobs won't come here unless we've got the tax structure in place, low taxes, and we're working to lower property taxes. That is a commitment that I've made and the board has made to continue to work to lower property taxes, while at the same time making sure we have infrastructure in place so that businesses can be competitive, sell their goods, do well, and employ a lot of people. Does that make sense to you?
It makes a lot of sense. If you look at the Chinese right now, they've been investing all over the world, and they have a competitive advantage. They're trying to leverage against us for the next several decades. We need to ensure that we are competitive, that we create jobs, that we are still a world-class nation that leads this world in terms of jobs, education, and policy. And if we don't start here locally, we cannot see our country grow globally.
You sound like you're running for office. Are you running for office yet?
No, I'm running for being a good American citizen, caring about my community, standing up when it's time to stand up and make noise and send a message to politicians like you and others that we care. And we will not stand for the status quo.
Well, I like that. I tease Ken, but I think Ken one day we're going to see him running for office and he's making an excellent elected official. But he talks about the status quo. And that's one thing that I really want to make clear, folks. In order for us to bring about the changes we want to bring about, if we want to see the cuts that we must see, you've got to be willing to take on the status quo. And that sometimes means making hard calls. And we've had to make them at the county center. We're going to continue to make them. We're going to drink our coffee. We're going to study. We're going to analyze. We're going to make our community stronger, better, smarter, swifter, and more economically competitive. And I would encourage you all to go to MarkSharpeFL.com, look at the blog that I post near daily for updates. Follow me on Twitter, MarkSharpeFL. Facebook, and also, check out Buddy Group. My good friend Dwayne Washington has just entered the room, and come here, Dwayne. Say hello. We're here on. Hello, everybody. This man, he is a fighter himself. Follow him on Facebook. He's a great American, and I want to say God bless you all. And here's to a good Friday, a nice weekend, and a strong America.